All right, welcome everybody to Meeting the Candidate. I'm sitting here today with a good friend of mine, longtime veteran and brother of mine, Mr. Dave Galloway, who's running for school board member, Jackson County School Board member for District 5. What's going on, Mr. Galloway?
Well, Byron, it's always good to see you. Always glad to have an opportunity to talk, and especially now, uh, opportunities like this are going to be really helpful because COVID has really changed the landscape in a lot of ways. It's. I think, other than variants, we might be over the hump, but it's just been really hard to get out and meet and talk to the people in District 5 because of the changes that's happened. So I really, really appreciate this opportunity. Thank
Oh
you.
yeah, no problem, no problem. And that's one of the things that we do here is try to create a space and an avenue for everyone to have a chance to let their voice be heard. And just, we understand the importance of social media today, and it's an easier access, makes it easier to be accessible. So I thank you for joining the show and making yourself available to the public. So real quick, I want to let the people get as much information as they can about you and about who you are, where you're from, what your experience, and what makes you feel that this is the right step and the next step for you as Jackson County school board member. So please tell us about who you are, where you're
Okay.
from, your history here, and everything about you.
Well, let's start at the beginning. I'm a first generation American. Both my mom and dad are immigrants from Scotland,
Hmm.
and they arrived to the state of New Jersey sometime in the mid 50s, early 50s. I was born in New Jersey, and when I was 16 years old in 1972, Dad had had a bait of the weather in New Jersey. He was tired of shoveling snow, so we packed up and headed south. So I've called South Florida home since 1972. This may come as a shock to some people. I mean, I wasn't born in the South, but I got here just as fast as I could. And I'm forever grateful Dad made that move. I moved around after I graduated high school. As you know, I joined the Army, and Uncle Sam saw fit to have me do some different things. I spent some time in Fort Knox, Kentucky, Louisville for basic. I went to Aberdeen Proving Grounds for my MOS training and finished up at jump school at Fort Benning. So I was lucky to serve with the 82nd Airborne Division for a number of years.
Cool.
After that, I returned to Florida. I became a member of the Florida National Guard, and I'm a proud veteran of B Company, 1st 124th Infantry Regiment, West Palm Beach. So I've got like 13 years total service to our country. I met Kay in West Palm Beach. I was a water treatment plant operator for the city of West Palm Beach, had a career in utilities. And in 1998, when our son was school age, we're looking around at schools in Palm Beach County. At the time, they were very lacking. And Kay, being the brains of our operation, came up with a solution. She said, "We're moving." And I'm like, "Where in the world are we moving to?" All the schools, and they're down here, they're pretty, She's like, "No, no, no, no. We're moving home," which was Sneed, Florida. She graduated from Sneed's High School in I'm not going to say the year, but she graduated from Sneed's High School. And in 1998, we broke camp down there and relocated up here. I was able to finish what I started after I got discharged in 1977 and finish my education, my education, and picked up a degree in elementary ed through Flagler College and TCC in Tallahassee. And when I graduated, amazingly enough, it was almost impossible to get a teacher's position. So I ended up working at Florida State Hospital as a rehab therapist for a couple of years, but was fortunate enough to get hired in 2007, and that began my education career here in Jackson County.
Okay.
So that's the short and sweet.
And you've been over the teachers union as well, correct?
Yeah, and here's the thing: there's a lot of misrepresentation and things that people don't understand about a union, especially teacher unions. I've always been a union member anytime I've had an opportunity, because I've worked without a union contract, I've worked with a union contract, and it's always been better with a contract. And likewise here in Jackson County. Miss Peggy Mills and a bunch of courageous teachers in the early 70s took steps to get organized. And then finally, in 1974, the Jackson County Education Association came into being. And when I got hired as a teacher, I, of course, joined a union. And because of my past experience and knowledge, I was elected as recording secretary and worked my way up to 2011. I became president of the organization. And in that time, I've negotiated 14 contracts for teachers in the district. I've been involved at the highest level possible in administration with the department head as a teacher in that role as president. And that has afforded me a really good working knowledge of just how the district works, and because of that experience, I've developed, I think, demonstrable relationships with different administrators, with the school board administration, with the school board department heads. And as a school board member, I think that will make me particularly effective from day one. I'll be able to hit the ground running. I'm up to speed on the budget process. I know how to read a budget. I know how the budget process works. Of course, there's things to learn, but I'm a pretty fast learner. And combined with the experience that I'll be bringing to the table, I won't need the normally 2 years it takes for a new school board member to get up to speed. So I'm ready to go to work on day one.
So no on-the-job training. And I think I want to caveat back. I think I speak for those watching, those not, by thanking you for your service and your contributions to this country.
You're quite welcome. My privilege.
Yeah, but based on what you're telling us, you've got a very your fingers have been dug in the ground and entrenched in the school district and the school board system. So this definitely gives you a lot to offer to the county and to the citizens and the families of District 5. I want to kind of sidestep in Bay County, our neighboring county. In Bay County, they have there's been talks, and I'm not sure, I don't want to quote this, but I know they've been dancing with the idea of appointing the board members, appointing the position of superintendent instead of allowing it to be elected as it is in other counties such as Jackson County. Is that something that you support?
Absolutely not. And I've been on record for a long time as not supporting that. And it comes down to a couple of reasons, but the biggest rationale or reason for me is that if you move to an appointed superintendent, that's taken the power of the electorate, of the citizens of Jackson County, the stakeholders of the school, and it shifts all that power into the hands of 5 people.
School board.
And as a veteran, supporting the Constitution, supporting the rights of the citizens of this country has always been very important to me. And I'm just going to be straight up. This has been something that I've heard that they have said about Mr. Galloway. And all I can say is they are lying. Because the vote needs to be one vote, one person for every elected position possible. Now, having been involved with the union and been involved with other districts throughout the state, having an appointed superintendent can be very problematic for a number of reasons. One, the big reason, it isolates the superintendent from, accountability to the people of the district. And that right there is reason enough not to move to an appointed superintendent.
Okay. Also there now my kids attend Malone School, very good school, great school for me. I like the small environment. I love what they're doing there. Shouts out to Doug Powell and his promotion, as well as the newly soon to be Principal Hardy. But there have been talks and there have been rumors. I've had conversations with a lot of people about closing Malone School. Is this something that you support, or do you think that that's something, an approach that the school board should go in?
Here's the thing. I mean, it comes down to funding again. And school funding is predicated on what they call FEPE, and I can't remember the acronym right now, but that's the formula Tallahassee uses to fund schools. The district receives X amount of tax dollars per student to operate the schools, right? Now, if you have a school that's not generating enough FEPE and we're having to divert funds to that school to keep it open, meaning the enrollment's low, they're not generating enough cash to operate that particular campus, then you gotta look at options. I mean, to be a good, responsible steward of district tax dollars, you gotta make that call based on the facts. Well, the facts of the matter of Malone is, and let me backtrack here. Our schools here in Jackson County are different than a lot of other places. In a rural community, the school is, and I've said this before, is the centerpiece of the community. You have the school, you have your churches, and people depend on that for more than just a place of education for their kids. And Malone has always been a centerpiece. Malone has a long, long history of excellence, both in academia, on the academic end, in sports, and just for what it does for the district. Miss Barber runs a Jam Up FFA program up there.
Yes.
So there's a lot of good things happening in Malone. So now Malone is now the third largest school in our school district. They are literally busting at the seams. So not only am I adamantly just opposed to any notion of consolidating Malone or closing Malone. I mean, that's just crazy talk. If I'm elected school board member of District 5, I'm going to flip the script a little bit and go on the offensive. And let's start talking about what resources we can bring to Malone as the third largest school in our district to accommodate the student body there. Malone's just, all our schools are really good, but I mean, they've had some really good administrators up there. Mr. Powell has been there for years and has done just really good things with the school. Mr. Hardy's been there a number of years. He is more than ready to be the administrator of Malone. Right now, they're finishing up interviews for who's going to be the assistant principal. That decision hasn't been made yet. But because of my relationship with Mr. Benton, because of my relationship with these board members, I've been very vocal in advocating to ensure that a person that knows Malone, that is from Malone, is going to be named the assistant principal up there. It's important there's that continuity in leadership. So even though I'm not elected, I'm doing what I can to make sure that Malone's going to be taken care of and that school is able to continue to be successful. And like I said, if I get on the board, we're going to be talking about Malone School quite a bit and what we can do to improve the educational setting there for our staff and our students.
FEFP, Florida Education Finance Program. I was able to pull that one up. That's it. So that slides me into my next question, and that is, there's been talks about consolidating Sneeze and Grand Ridge and making a K-8 school in similarity to Mariana K-8. However, do you see this as a good option? But I think amongst the school board members, there have been talks to not to deviate from that and to use monies and funding to better the current Grand Ridge School that's been in existence for, for years. Is this
Mhm.
something that you think would be better, the K-8 option, or working alongside with making
Well,
it?
here's the thing. We want facilities that our students can grow and thrive in, and we need facilities that are mold free, that are you can regulate the environment with HVAC. And there's a range of issues here. And with anything in education, there's what I call a lot of moving parts, because it's just not here in Jackson County. We have to contend with what Tallahassee says and what Tallahassee does. They control the budget strings. 86% of our money of school funding comes straight from Tallahassee. We don't have a huge tax base to draw on. Like Walton County, for example, they got all that beach money. We don't have that money available to us here in Jackson County, and we have to do really well with the money that we get from the state. And the budget is, like I said, about 85% funded from Tallahassee. And again, not being on the inside, so to speak, but I know that Tallahassee did not send enough funding to build a school from the ground up. The district bought, I think, 80 acres several years ago for the proposed school site. The Tallahassee, and the conversation is still ongoing. We're not at an end point yet, but currently the funding made available is not near enough to build, to prep the land for a big facility and to build a school from the ground up. So the other option is to build what we can on the existing Grand Ridge campus. And everybody's got to keep in mind, it's the priority needs to be what's best for our students. And if we keep the students the priority, then most things will take care of itself.
So go ahead.
Like I said, I again, not knowing for sure, but I think the plan is to expand on the existing Grand Ridge campus, to bring in a K through 8 facility there.
Okay. Once again, do you think that land is suitable, or you think maybe it'll be a different option for that current land?
Not being a surveyor, not knowing a whole heck of a lot about construction and building, but I do know, like when we built our house, they just don't show up with a bunch of 2x4s and start nailing it together. They got to get a site preparation. Things have to be cleared. Earth has to be moved. Things have to be leveled before you can build. So, there would be a serious financial commitment or amount of money needed to prep any site. The other consideration is you can't have a septic tank for a big old school. So I'm sure there'd be some utility work that would have to be done to bring lines down Spanish Trail or down 90 to connect the school to the utility system in Grand Ridge or Sneed, but I think the Grand Ridge plant's newer and probably has a higher capacity. But again, this is all speculation.
Gotcha.
So again, combine that with the site prep, with the funding made available or not available by Tallahassee. So the district has to consider all options are on the table. You got to build what you can afford with the funds that have been made available.
Yeah, if that's the case, then maybe I don't know. The options then would be, if the land is not good to go, which they haven't, we don't know for sure, but then maybe we'd have to resell that property. What we got to get the money back some kind of way.
Oh, and looking at the current real estate market, crazy right now. So I would think there wouldn't be too much difficulty. And I think the purchase was for 80 acres, I think. Um, but I don't know how much of a market there is for 80 acres of land in Grand Ridge, Florida. That's outside my wheelhouse. But
Yeah.
I'm hoping they would recoup the money. I mean, part of the issue when the year they decided to make that purchase, I remember this clearly, was the year we weren't able to negotiate an increase on teacher salaries because, we have to buy this land. So teachers were kind of, moved to the end of the chow line, if you will. And that's just, these are things you have to think about. You gotta, when making long range decisions, you need to really consider, where are we going to be when we get to the other side of these bushes we're looking at here? Are we going to be where we want to be? Did we plan appropriately? Was enough forethought put into the decision-making process? Here we are. And, I'm not faulting anybody. I mean, you make the best decision you can with what you know at the time. And, nobody's got a crystal ball. But, there has to be a lot of thought put into these big money decisions.
Well, I definitely will say this interview has definitely been a breath of fresh air. You bring a real clear, real view, real world, down to earth perspective of the position of school board member. And I think this is something that's needed. I want to say good luck to you. And I also want you to open the floor to give you just information on how people can learn more about you, how if they want to ask questions, in where they can get more info and just find out more about Dave Galloway.
Okay, well, my cell phone number is 850-209-5134, and that's the absolute best way to get up with me. If I don't answer the phone, which is not usual, send me a text. I mean, I'm literally an open book. I'm a stand-up guy. I say what's on my mind, and that's really it. I mean, right now there's a lot of whispering going on and everything else, and that doesn't really bother me at all. I'm focused on this campaign. I'm focused to get elected to continue advocating for our students, our teachers, and our staff, and our administrators. I mean, it takes everybody to educate a child, and everybody has an equal part and role in that, from the bus driver, who's the first person our students see in the morning, to a staff professional. I mean, listen, I can't speak enough. I had a friend at Riverside, George Barnes, and George was a maintenance guy at Riverside, and he was just a one-of-a-kind guy, and he passed a couple of years ago. But anyway, I'm saying this to George Barnes worked hard every day with the kids of Jackson County, even though his job was to maintain the building. George was right there with the kids. I mean, he was very supportive, just a great guy. It was a sad day when he left us, and this is the role everybody plays in the school. I don't care if you're in a classroom or an administrator in an office. Everybody's there to move our kids forward, and we do a really good job with that. And these jobs need to be recognized. They need to be respected. And part of my advocacy, my campaign here, is to keep our staff front and center. They're on the front lines every day doing the job. And I want to make sure that we keep attracting the right kind of employee. And I want to make sure we keep the right people in our schools for our kids. I mean, we're building the future here. I mean, that sounds, like hyperbole, but that's the hard, cold facts of the matter. And it's something that's been my life for the last 14 years. And I would appreciate an opportunity to keep working in that capacity, but at a higher level here. So like I said, 850-209-5134 is the best way to get me. I'm hosting an event at the Grand Ridge Playground on May 7th. Y'all come out, get a hot dog, visit, hang out, maybe win a door prize. And I'm doing the same thing at the Malone Joy Club on May 14th, the next Saturday, 12 to 3. Like I said, come out, get a hot dog, something to drink. Let's visit, let's talk, and let's get to know each other. But I'm working really hard to be your next school board member, and I'd really appreciate your support and your vote. Thank you.
Great. Oh, you have a Facebook page as well, correct?
I do. Galloway for JCSB is where you can find me on the electric Facebook.
Cool.
I'm putting a lot of good stuff out there as far as current educational issues, what's going on in Jackson County, and what I'm doing to become your next school board member.
Cool. And I just to throw out there, everybody, this is the perspective that you're hearing. This is what you get from veterans. So one that I didn't make, I didn't throw out there. And like I said, me being a veteran, you're going to hear a lot of that from me. That's why we need a lot more veteran educators out there. So a lot of you vets out there that want to be teachers, come on to Jackson County and let's
come on. We need you.
Yeah, because I know I think they still got that, what is it? Green
Soldiers to Classroom.
Yes, it's a program for a lot of vets to be teachers. So that's another one. But yes, thank you for coming on Bottom Line with Roni and Byron. And hopefully we can get some more candidates. Everybody, if you're out there, if you're a candidate running for a particular office, if it's school board, if it's county commissioner, etc., please give us a call, message us, and we'll bring you on. Thank you again, Mr. Galloway. And don't be a stranger. The closer we get in, we'll do this again.
All right, brother. I appreciate you. Thank you.
All right.
Peace out.